Talk. I'm your host, Dr. Tim, and this is my wonderful co-host, PG Ty, and special guest, Dean Franco. How you doing, sir?
And also, back up to the co-host.
Yeah, well, you know,
Forgot to add that.
I gotta. You know, I don't want to make him feel intimidated there. So let's not go there.
Good to see you guys. It's only been a week and a couple days.
Yeah. And Eric's already waiting to go.
Yep, saw that.
I gotta tell our friend here that we are live. If he hasn't.
Hey, I'm going to share this to group. So where am I picking this up on your page?
On the Datu Hartman page.
Got it.
So that or YouTube, but the Datu Hartman would be the way to go.
Is it? Maybe it hasn't gone under yet.
We are live.
Okay. Let me. Maybe just a lag.
Let me see here. I'm gonna go to my Facebook.
What about FMA Talk? Maybe.
Nope. Datu Hartman. Not seeing it. Hold on. Now let me. Let me see here. We just went live. He found it. Okay, he found it. Let me. Okay. You have. Oh, you know what? It's. Damn it. They did it as an event. I hate when it does that. So what? You can watch it live. Hold on here. Here's. Yeah. I hate when it does this. Here's the link if you want to share it. Click on that and then share from there.
Link to my messenger.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Didn't work. No. Well, I gotta shut this down. Let me share this to a group. I'm gonna share this FMA discussion. Is that where you wanted it?
Yeah, I'm just thinking for you. I mean.
Okay, I just shared it there. I just have too much shit's going on in the background.
Okay. Let me just double check that's going there. Okay. Okay, approved. Okay, so we should be good. I'm saying it's not live though.
Nope. Watch it. There's a watch it live button.
I'm not live now. Interesting. Okay, hold on. It's not. Where's it live right now?
It is. Okay, go to my page.
I'm on your page, but it's not.
Click more, and then there's a live button.
Click more. Okay.
Does it normally come up as not an event? It comes up as something else?
Normally it just goes up.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, it's not like in the past where.
Okay, so if you look, there's those titles. There's posts, about, channels, mentions, reels, photos, and then there's the more button. And if you look down on more button, the second one from the top is live.
Okay.
If you're on a computer, who knows on the app. But it looks like Eric's seeing it live, so it must be working.
So it's got to be working somewhere,
He's
right?
watching on YouTube.
Oh, that's why YouTube. Okay.
And
Yeah, but I got 10 people,
on Facebook.
I've got 10 people watching it on Datu Hartman right now.
Yep.
You have people on Facebook watching it live?
Yeah. Brent. Hey, Brent, you're on Facebook, so you're watching.
Okay. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna pull it off. Okay, YouTube channel. I'm gonna pull it off there.
Hmm.
And then some
Dr. Tim Armin?
karate in Tijuana is watching it live on Facebook. So we're up and good and running. So that's good. They'll figure it out.
All right, I see it right here. I'm going to. Okay. I got it. Got it.
Watching it live on Facebook. So we're up.
Yes, it is a pain in the butt.
No worries. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, you should definitely disable that option though if it's that painful.
I don't even know why. No clue, because I didn't even. Yeah, it just. Yeah,
it's a feature. But yeah, we got some people. So we already mentioned a few names. There's Brian Hawkins as well and Marlon Reed. So welcome everyone.
Okay. Actually, I'm sharing this to your page.
I shared it directly to my Tim Hartman page.
I did.
I think we
I'm
both
doing
did.
that now, and I'm going to as well. It's coming. You know, they have to click it on a link, but I think it's going to be better than nothing. Okay, and let me.
Oh, now bear with him. That's Brent.
So Brent's
making fun of you. How dare he?
Brent, don't be. Brent is a good guy.
Brent's a jerk.
No. Okay. Well,
I'm sharing this to FMA discussion. So if
they click on it, they're going to YouTube. Unfortunately.
There's Carl. Hey,
Carl.
But if you're getting folks that are
we're getting people, so it's good.
We got it, the numbers are jumping. But I did share it to FMA discussion, so hopefully, if you enable that there, that'll be all good.
Actually, okay, here we go. I just did. Okay, we're good now.
Oh, we were good the whole time.
I don't know. Careful of that.
So, everybody, welcome to FMA Talk Live, and we're dealing with technology, which is great and sucks all at the same time. We were all hanging out together just a couple of weeks ago. We were over at the Saratoga Martial Arts Festival. Although PG Ty and Jerry DeSano, three of us, we were also at New Hampshire all the same weekend. Yay!
Yes, my first time there. I really enjoyed the atmosphere.
And people said good things about you after you left. Or was it?
I feel really bad about that. And the reason why I feel bad about that is I went up to Mark and I specifically said, hey, I'm going to get a jump on the traffic and all that. If he had told me there was kind of like a ceremonial ending or something, I would have stayed. He didn't say any of the sort. So I felt bad about that.
What it really boiled down to is they said good things because you left.
No. I was going to say that's not what they said.
They said good things about it because I don't know why.
No, they were happy. It was good.
No, they were. Oh, here is Brock. There we go. If you
Brock.
click profile picture of Datu Hartman page, then the share arrow to the left of the chat box will show a video.
Well, you know what? I'm looking at it right now at FMA discussion. You got to let people watching, so I think we're good.
There we go. Yeah, and the numbers keep jumping. So, okay, so let's get into it. There are two topics tonight. One is it's all the same topic, but part of the thing here is this: people need to ask questions. When people, so I'm going to say this: if people want to be treated like grown-ass adults, they need to behave like them and act like them. Which means if someone says something that you don't like, you should ask for clarification. If you don't, and if you let it go, here's the thing: if I say something that ticks you off, I own that moment. Now, if it's a misunderstanding, whether it's intentional or not, the longer you let that go, that time's on you. Something happened during the weekend that we did this little excursion with New Hampshire and Saratoga, and somebody did something. I waited 24. I tried to deal with it right away. I dealt with it and didn't go quite the way I wanted because it was in the middle of something. And then I slept on it. I waited for 48 hours. I sent a letter to the person. The person responded, understood where I was coming from. All good from both sides because we dealt with it as adults. We didn't sit. And the thing is, if I was stewing for 5 hours, 20 hours, 2 weeks, all that time I was stewing is all on me. You know what? You're either part of a problem or a solution. So when I have an issue with somebody, I try to talk to them and clear it up. And we're going to be talking about some things that were said and things that I said. And if you want to, there's a lot of things in my head. Everyone's feelings are genuine. Now, whether those feelings are merited or not are another story. But if someone's upset about something, you can't say that those feelings aren't real. It just, they might be blowing things out of proportion. They may not have the right information. They may be 100% right. They might, but we can't just let things go. And I think COVID has made it worse. People become very judgmental and cancel culture and all this other stuff. People get offended by what's being said, but then they don't think about how what they're saying is offending others. So if it goes down to the basics, asking questions, I think it'll fix a lot of things right there. And this topic today came from something along those lines. But before I go down this path that opens up the doors and comments, did you guys have something you want to start with?
In regard to which issue?
Well, I'm going to talk about that conversation I had with somebody that led into this.
Once you identify that, yeah, then I can certainly jump in, sure, unless Ty has something.
Okay, so I want to talk about why this started and how we got, because we're going to talk about cultural appropriation, appreciation, propagation, and celebration. Okay. But how we got there, this topic, because I ended up having a conversation with someone that made me feel really confused. But I'm not going to start there. I want to talk about how we got there because there's other things and other lessons that are part of this about asking questions. Let me see here. Why did you just say I was an ass? LOL. Brent, I don't want to. Ty, you're muted, by the way, still.
Yeah, that was good, Brent. I was going to say something, but that's it.
And Sweeney says hello.
Hey, wow, Sweeney, awesome.
Hey, we're going to see him in a couple weeks, right?
That's what I hear. Yep. Hopefully he'll
Sweeney,
confirm.
you're coming to New York. Is that true? So, long story short, I was listening to a podcast. It was the host plus one. Oh, yeah, he says yes. Woohoo, yeah.
Awesome, brother. Love you, man.
That's not what you were saying last night, but that's okay, Sweeney. I got you back. I got you. Absolutely. So things were being said on the show. Language was sloppy. Comments were being made about me, not by name. And the sad thing was the person that was making the comments about me, I had seen recently. And I was shocked that he didn't actually talk to me because he had plenty of opportunities. Because this was an old comment I made, and so what I decided to do, I listened to the podcast twice to make sure I heard what I heard, and then I sent a letter. I sent a Facebook message to the two of them because it happened on the show, and I didn't want to. He said, she said bullshit because the one person in question is very sloppy with his language. And he has a tendency of misconstruing things that I've said. And Ty has been in the same conversation, and when comments have been made about it afterwards, I'm like, what? Who said that? Well, Tim didn't say anything like that. So they both responded to me, but the host was the only one that actually had a conversation with me the day later. So I still haven't heard from the other person, and the person in general made some comments, and I said you might want to listen to what you say in your podcast in general. And I'm not going to get into all the different things, but it was about sloppiness of language. So I was glad that the host wanted to talk to me. And we had an interesting conversation. I think some of it was good. Although it started off with telling me that all my videos suck. And I'm paraphrasing. He doesn't like my videos. I'm like, none of them are good? No. I'm like, okay. So the thing about, kids in Filipino martial arts in the movies, Remy's father teaching the guerrillas, well, that was wrong because you had stuff from the Bola Brigade there. I'm like, okay. Now, the social media company does a 40 to a 90-second video. It's not a documentary. And I think the person is very close-minded. And here's what I'm going to say. This goes back to when we used to do print ads for martial arts. And people say, I can't use that ad. Why? Because they're wearing a white gi and I use a black gi. Well, the ad is about getting the phone to ring. The ad doesn't matter about knowing anything about your system. Well, what's a Taekwondo kick? I don't give a damn about a Taekwondo kick. Does it give an opportunity for my phone to ring, and then I can tell people about my program, and then they can make the decision whether they want to be with us or not? Hey, Craig.
Hey, PG Craig.
So, which I'm closing in on 400 videos since April 1st of last year, and I can't believe that none of my videos are good. Once again, here is the sloppiness of language. But the conversation wasn't supposed to be about my videos. It was about the words that they were talking about and things they were saying. And this is where it gets twisted, and this opens up the door. So I tried to deal with things as an adult. There was a problem. I tried to solve it. I asked questions and talked about things. So during the conversation, I got lectured. I was told multiple times that it wasn't my fault I was taught Filipino martial arts, and cultural appropriation was thrown around a few times, which I didn't understand. I felt very confused and tainted, and I let it go for a day, maybe two, and then I messaged back and go, hey, thanks for talking to me, but were you trying to say that there's cultural appropriation? I'm doing cultural appropriation here because I teach Filipino martial arts, because I don't understand why you say it wasn't my fault. Now, I've been accused of cultural appropriation because I used the title of Datu. I've been accused of cultural appropriation because of my ink, okay, which, by the way, was put on by a Filipino. And now I felt like he was saying it's cultural appropriation because I teach Filipino martial arts. Now, Ty and I, hey Alan, Ty and I were in the Philippines along with Craig. A lot of Filipinos came up to talk to us, and there was a general consent. I mean, it's crazy. We were stopped in the streets, in a 7-Eleven, in Dairy Queen, in the mall on an escalator, in the airport. People found us at our hotels and drove hours to meet with us. Hours. Ty, what was the sentiment about what they thought we were doing?
They were just happy we were doing what we do to spread the arts that we can. It was all positive. It was great.
They didn't get caught up in the minutia of the videos that I do to get, so here's the thing. Hey, Daryl, if people sit there and complain about the BJJ MMA videos I do, it means you really have no clue about social media. To do social media, you either have to walk around in a thong and make sexual innuendos or talk about controversial topics. Now, there may be a couple of people that want to see me do that, but I would say the masses don't think that Thong and Tim Hartman should be in the same state, let alone the same sentence, let alone a social media video. But And during this conversation, the person admitted at one time that he felt that an animosity towards Westerners teaching Filipino martial arts. And he said
I'm sorry, repeat that. He felt or you felt?
He felt at one time that an animosity towards non-Filipinos teaching Filipino martial arts.
By Filipinos in America or Filipinos in general?
It was an American Filipino.
Right, you're right. I got that part.
Upset at this white guy teaching Filipino martial arts.
Okay.
So let's not mix words.
This person at one time was upset.
Now, with all the things that I said, was said to me, and the thing that was rough is, it wasn't my fault that I was taught Filipino martial arts.
Yeah, I mean, I can.
Are you saying that it's Remy Pracis's fault that I was taught this, and that's?
I just think that's ridiculous. So it was your fault that you're teaching Korean arts? Was it your fault that you're born? I don't understand that. I think it's just so. It's almost like clickbait.
But this was a conversation. This wasn't even.
Yeah,
this was a
matter.
one-on-one conversation. I mean,
I just think it's I just think that's a stupid statement, regardless if it's a conversation, an argument, in writing, a letter, in person. I just think there's just no substance for it. But backing up to the appropriations, I also find that it's just incredibly ridiculous. For somebody who's been doing FMA discussion for 5 years, who's trained under 6 different actual Filipinos, interviewed with the 500 something interviews, maybe a little less than half were Filipinos. Not at any given time, episode, or in conversation, or under tutelage of those instructors did that ever come up, period. So this is a manifestation of someone who wants to try to kick something off that's not relevant for self-marketing, or to be more acknowledged, whatever it may be, but it's ridiculous. And I can go on and on about it, but it's not, there's nothing, it's never been brought up. I've never even seen that being brought up in FMA discussion. What I guess my question to you would be is, was there something why he brought, like, what triggered him to mention that to you? Was there a trigger in the first? Was there a trigger?
Okay, so there is. What did I start saying that we have to do to be adults around here?
Well,
we have to talk and ask questions, right? Okay, yep. So he didn't like my videos, and personally, I think he was trying to redirect because I was calling him on some stuff.
Well, yeah, that makes sense, because again, what you're sharing with me based on again, I can't wrap my head around it. Like, for instance, and I'm not patting myself on the shoulder, but we've sent so much money over there via, well, my own personal money and raffles over the, not last year because we didn't do anything, but the 4 previous years, thousands of dollars in there. And so for somebody who to do this, and I don't know this person, and that's not at this point, I guess, relevant. But for somebody to say that, and my guess is generally speaking, people like this, they're part of the problem, not the solution. As you mentioned before, I just think it's just ridiculous. I've never, like, Ty, have you ever in your travels, and FMA teachers, students, colleagues, peers from Philip, have you ever this mentioned to you?
They haven't said those kinds of things to me, but I think it's, I don't know, it's there's an easy way to look at this. Words have meaning.
Yeah.
Appropriation means taking something for your own use, typically without permission. Let's start the last part. If you were trained by someone, they asked you to teach, I think you get a pass on that.
I actually 100%.
And the other thing, maybe you're sharing things because you love the art. To me, that's to me.
And you're cultivating, propagating its future.
Right. Celebration, cultural celebration is not cultural appropriation. If you said, hey, I made this, it just comes from me, you don't give any history, it's all something like that, you could kind of do that, particularly if you're cashing in. But I think that's few and far between. So I think it's
Yeah,
pretty
we're all
simple.
cashing in on teaching FMA. I mean, gosh, we're all millionaires.
So welcome, Mark Makita, to the show.
Hey,
And
Mark.
he says he is certainly, I certainly have. Okay.
He's
so
heard
I'm
of himself.
assuming
Okay.
that you've heard that before. Okay.
So that's so strange. All the interviews I've done and my interactions, which over the last 5 years, that is never, ever, ever
Well,
come up to me.
let me ask you this. For all three of you, including Mark here, was it American Filipinos or relocated Filipinos, or was it Philippines in the islands? Because in the islands, we've had nothing but compliments on all the work we've been doing. Nothing
Interesting
but
you say that. Over there, some of the comments I've gotten, because there were a couple shows we did on FAMA versus FMA, right? Is there truly a Filipino American martial art? And what some of the folks were saying over there, that they were saying like, hey, if it wasn't for the Westerners, FMA would not be aware. I mean, there's some that were adamantly believed that, communicated that, had no issues with saying that.
Here we go. There we go. There we go. Mark just said it. Never from the islands.
Interesting. I've never 0-0 for me. Nothing from the islands.
So,
nothing from here on.
And I could give you some. There is someone big out there who actually apologized to me about the way they initially treated me, because the cult of personality they were following.
All right, but they were misled and they said something of a following.
Right. So, but here's the thing. The times I've heard this were from people over here in North America. I have never heard
Which even makes it, think about that, which even makes it worse, even less substantial, that somebody over here who probably wasn't even born over there and is just fighting the good cause, right?
Well, once again, this I don't know if the person was trying to make fun of me, change the thing. So I made a comment that here's the one thing he got all upset about. So let me throw this out to you guys. Actually, and I want people, let's see if someone learned the lesson that we talked about from the beginning here. I said, we need to get the F out of FMA. That's the Filipino. Okay.
I remember.
So I threw that out there. Let me see. Now, that he said that the person said that was very offensive. But you know what?
Let's tackle that. Okay, let's look at this. Okay. And we've had multiple conversations regarding this. I've had a show and all that. Okay. I'm going to open up a school in my area. Okay. And I'm going to itemize on my front window all the Filipino systems I did. Okay. And I'm going to, push the FMA down everybody's throats in the community. Okay. Or I can call it martial arts, self-defense, and all that in there. How many, what do you think is going to draw more people in? Like more of a generic thing, or me putting all these names that people are not going to even know what the hell I'm talking about, or what system it is, or what style it is in there. So, but here it goes deeper. So by virtue of going more the generic name nomenclature to get people in the door, and then expressing to them. So in other words, still really perpetuating Filipino martial arts, just wait until they get in the door to fully announce what style, in fact, they're doing if they were to ask, right? So in other words, they want us to grow, but they want on their terms. I mean, so what is it? It's just ridiculous,
We can call it DMA for dance martial arts. Okay, Tony calls it offensive. Okay, so Tony. Okay, so Tony's saying my comment is offensive. Is that true, Tony?
No, I don't think he's saying that, but it's a good question.
I think he's talking about the whole
FMA or basic martial arts. Okay, I'm teaching Filipino martial art. So here, or only the art. Okay, so what I was hoping someone would do, Tony, is someone would ask me, "What do you mean by that, Tim?" Because that was for those. I mean, you weren't at the beginning of the conversation, Tony, so you fell into the trap, which wasn't set, but it wasn't meant to be set for anything. It was trying to make the point. How does it feel when
Beat
your
by
butt beat by Boy Garcia? You mean when there was an exhibition match?
incredibly
Boy
irrelevant.
and I are friends, so I don't know what the I don't know what the problem here is there, but that's fine. Not to anyone. Okay. What do you mean by that, Tim? Okay. A voice in the crowd. There we go.
Finally got somebody.
Okay. What do you mean by that, Tim? There we go. Yes, sir. Okay, here we go. So let me get it done. So first of all, let me get it where I got the get the F out, and then we're going to talk how it applies to this conversation. So first of all, for those who are Buffalo is a big wrestling town. I had family involved with it at one time or another. So the WWF was the Worldwide Wrestling Federation, was owned by Vince McMahon. And he was feuding with the World Wildlife Federation because they both used the WWF. So eventually he decided to go WWE. And the big thing was, he would say, get the F out. So this guy wearing a WWF head that would go into a barber and they'd shave the F off. So it was a really big catchphrase to bring conversation to the thing. There we go. And there's another one. What do you mean, Tim? So that was the whole genesis of calling it that. But let me get into this. We were doing a show. Ty was part of the show. Dean, you may have even been in the show with us. Because Dean is that guy. And we were doing a show. You may have been part of it. And somebody who logged in, who does a Filipino martial art in addition to their karate, said that you can't have full-time Filipino martial arts schools. And my thing is, maybe you can't do it because you're in an art that only does weapon combatives. So you have two different categories of martial arts. You have the all-encompassing martial arts, and then you have the specialty martial arts. So if you look at HEMA, historical European martial arts, they're pretty much sword fighters. If you do Kabuto in the Japanese martial arts, it's all the weapon fighting. It's not the karate aspect of things. So in FMA, we have arts that fall into those categories. If you look at, say, Balintawak and Sarada and Bahalana, I have never seen open hand combatives taught. Now, if someone does that in their club, that was added on, like Grandmaster Bobby Tabuada, a good friend of ours, he's adding open hand combatives to make up the deficiencies in that art. Great for him. But there is no open hand combatives in Balintawak. I have yet to see anything in Sarada and Bahalana. And I know there's other arts like that. But Modern Arnis and Kombatan, we have a full standalone program. Does it cover every single thing under the sun? No, it doesn't. It really doesn't count. It doesn't cover ground fighting, but it has enough in the system to run a full committed FMA school. How do I know this? Because I've been doing it for over 3 decades. If I only did it on my stick work, there's no way I could stay open. When someone's coming to me, hey, will you teach my child, and he's dealing with bullies, teaching them how to pull a knife and stab somebody's not going to really cut it into kindergarten. That's more of a 3rd grade topic, I'd say, maybe 4th at the most, there's the joke. So as we got into that, and I'm going to catch up with this in the middle, I was very offended by the statement of this person that we couldn't have FMA schools. So my mindset is this: we need to, and you're on point with what I was saying. We need to get this out of our mindset. When we're offering classes of martial arts, the percentage of people that comes in because I'm teaching Modern Arnis is few and far between. Now, with my social media push, I'm getting bigger audience. But at the end of the day, the people that walk through my doors is looking for a martial arts school in their area to teach their children, their brothers, their sisters, their moms. They'll fill in the blank. It has nothing to do with the style. Now, my position is this. We deserve, as Filipino martial arts, we deserve to be at the big table, not stuck at the little kids' table. We have a rich martial culture. We are martial artists first, specializing in Filipino combatives. And if
it'll never happen. It'll never happen because of stuff like this what we're talking about.
If you are in a system,
we can't even get behind this stupid stuff. How are we going to even go on to bigger things?
Now, if people aren't, if you have if you're not committed to do the craft, that's on you. But the thing here is there's so much, and thanks, Mark. There's so much rich martial culture. And I get it. If you're in an art that doesn't have that, I'm sorry. It's not my fault that you found a dead-end art. An art that only does one aspect of things, and it's more martial art, martial preservation. But hey, it's still good that we're preserving the arts, right? So instead of talking to me about this whole topic, Tim, that's offensive. That's really offensive. That's racist. I'm like, get the F out of FMA. I go, the problem is that the mindset that we can't succeed because it's Filipino is bullshit. This is a call to action, not a slap in the face. It's meant as a call to action to Filipino martial artists everywhere. And if the person would have asked me and we had this conversation, he may understand where I'm coming from and appreciate what I'm saying. Then again, I don't think so, because based on all the things that he said to me, it's hard for me to believe that he's not racist. It's not your fault, Tim, that you were taught Filipino martial arts and cultural appropriation.
I can't wrap my head around that statement.
It is,
so
it is
let me get caught. Man, everyone's like jumping right in here. Here we go.
No, good.
Seriously, I need your opinion on this.
What's that?
It's not your fault, Ty, that you work for the government. I can't wrap my head around that statement. Like, what does that mean? Like, it's not your fault.
I can't even parse that one either. But all I remember is that Remy would talk a lot about, wanting to spread his Filipino sport martial culture. He would talk about that a lot. He looked to us to help with that, and he looked at everybody he taught. This is right, but he looked at everybody that he taught that he got good enough to help spread things to do their part, and he enabled people really strongly that way, which I think is great. But I mean, this is a person who loved the art. He gave us to where we love the art. We're giving our effort and time and support to that. I don't think that's appropriating, because it's not just for our own use. It's for maybe our own love, which is why I say celebration. You say cultural appropriation, I'm going to say cultural celebration. That's what I'm going to say. But I always remember what Remy said that puts it in those lines.
Why are you answering that question? It's not even on topic.
No. I'm going to address. No, actually, I'm not going to address this. Ty is going to address this because he got to speak to a historian in the Philippines.
Yeah, I would have him talk to Devane over there in Iloilo City, who has done a lot of research on this stuff, and it is not just localized to those kinds of things. In fact, a word or similar word is all over the place, not only in the Philippines, but also up and down that whole area. But anyway, there's a lot more to that than just what this statement says. That's all I can say about that. But talk to one of your own Filipinos in the Philippines who's a historian on this stuff, and you can get a little more education.
As I asked specifically, so we talked about a couple things. We talked about what does Kali mean? Is it in the Filipino language? And it was found. It meant to dig. And Kalis was meant to scrape.
So like level off a cup of
a flour or sugar or whatever.
Yep. Yep.
So then I asked the question. I go, now remember, I want and Pellin, Mark, or whatever, listen closely when I say this. Oh, and by the way, are you Filipino by any chance? Just curiosity. I asked the question. Professor Prasis was the one that awarded me this title because of the work I was doing. Okay. This wasn't asked for. I didn't self-appoint. And like I said, we talked at the beginning, people say cultural appropriation because of my title, my ink, and now teaching Filipino martial arts. When I asked this person, who is a historian, I go, I'm going to represent this because Remy was like a father to me. And if he thought it was important for me to be acknowledged as Datu Tim, which I was the 6th underneath him, and 4 of the 6 are white, only 2 are Filipinos. If it was important for Remy for me to give me this title, it's important for me to represent it because of how close I was to Remy. I expressed all these same things to this person, and I go, I'm asking you, I want the truth. He goes, Tim, it means you're the head of a tribe. It has nothing to do with Mindanao. It was a Filipino term for a tribal leader. I'm going with the historian. The problem here is too many martial artists out there are pretending they're historians and they're not doing research.
Here's the thing, though. Why are they constantly asking you this? Like, I don't hear anybody questioning or asking Kelly Borden or something. Like, why is it constantly like this question
the person who gave the title?
At you?
Right. Or the person who gave the title. You should be talking to Remy.
Well,
I mean,
and here you go. Hey, Mark or Pellet Mark, are you old enough to have been around when Remy did this? So why didn't you take it up with him? And I was the 6th, not the 1st, the 6th. All right.
Who was the first?
Shashir Nakala.
Okay, so how come people aren't asking him? When was Kelly?
He's Filipino.
Yeah, but what difference does it make?
The second, well, because they're a bunch of
if he's not
racist.
moral, okay. So
because this is really well. Most of the people that bitch about this aren't even Filipino.
What number was Kelly?
Kelly was number 2.
How come nobody's asking him?
He said they did.
I
don't know. He said they did, and I'm like, because okay. And now when I say this, Kelly was upset when I said this because he thought I was making light of this. If Datu is such a huge title, why are bands using the term and pop artists over there using Datu this, Datu that, and more importantly, explain the food company Datu Puti. I mean, you don't hear you would never hear of Mohammed Mustard. You would never hear something like that if it was because it's sacred. In the Philippines, they have a food product named this. If it's so damn sacred, why the hell would they allow that? But anyways, that's another. But the thing here is this. You know what? I'm sick of this topic. I've been taking that for decades. Try again. Nice for playing here. Parents freak out. Okay.
Skyline's got it.
Okay. There we go here. Good point. What was the excellent point, by the way?
It was not related to this particular portion of the conversation.
Okay.
But Skyline just has something.
Raptor, I just
doesn't mean you can't.
Doesn't mean you can't.
Of course.
Well, I've had a Filipino that came over here that tried to say that a newborn Filipino kid knew more Filipino martial arts than me. Actually said it to Rich. I'm like, really? Yep. Okay. I think partially the Gen Z thing with Filipino Americans, they listen to Taylor Swift and Snoop Dogg, and that rots their brain. Here's the other thing question. If we're talking about, if they're suggesting that what I'm doing is cultural appropriation, then Filipinos should stop teaching karate and taekwondo. And Jude, isn't that cultural appropriation? Or is it okay because they're Filipino, they're Asian? Or
we're playing basketball. Basketball's bigger.
There's the other one. There's an American sport called boxing. Because the Americans brought the boxing over. We shared.
Oh, what about basketball? Isn't basketball the most popular thing over there?
It is the most popular sport over there. So they should stop doing that.
Yeah, because again, it doesn't fit the narrative.
Yeah, there we go. How to
I love that. That was great.
Filipinos by the Filipinos. The art decolonization. The arts decolonize and colonizers. They go native. They spread the love of the art. Okay, done. All right. Sometimes is even better when a non-Filipino teacher, as Filipino myself, I've seen.
Being honest.
Ooh. I appreciate teaching.
We're teaching.
There you go. There you go.
Absolutely. Right.
Okay. Amen. Datu. That's me and my rant.
Here's Ty, just so we put here. Dean, this message was from Eric. I can remember a few years ago that Dean went through something like this himself with also involved Paulo. There were a few things. There was a top 50, Eric. There was something with KI. Definitely been my share of drama. Not self-induced, by the way. Just wrong place, wrong time, wrong subject.
I think that was in relation to the cultural appropriation portion of this. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, definitely. But that word just never came up though.
Hey, so Raptor, I'm gonna tell you two things here. The best thing that happened for Filipino martial arts was that Professor Prices showed people that you could do it for a living. The worst thing for Filipino martial arts, Professor Prices showed people could do it for a living. And there's a lot of people in the Philippines who prey on the tourists that come over that know shit. See, the thing is, at least over here, we have a higher standard. And I'm not saying that every Filipino martial artist is better. What I'm saying is martial arts in general, we have a different standard over here than many other martial cultures. And there are good Filipino martial artists over there, and then there's the others. And there's a lot of people that are just trying to make a buck because they looked at how Professor was doing things, and then Guru and Asano was starting to do things. And, you look at those stars, and Leo Gahe was doing things. Those are probably the three big names promoting Filipino martial arts on an international level with any quantity of numbers.
You could probably take that as an indicator, though, right? Something gets really more spread around the place. You're gonna have people, more popular. You're gonna have people that are not the best representatives, right? So that's actually good. It's showing that it's getting to the spread that it needs.
Okay, I'm getting caught up here. Great.
Yep.
Offensive only taken wrong. I teach, pass on what I taught.
If I'm, yeah, right. Well, wait, it's not your fault, Tony, that you're not.
Once again, how am I supposed to take a comment from somebody that it's not your fault? How am I supposed to think that the person, especially when the person admitted at one time they felt this way? To me, it's hard for me to believe that the person is not.
I just don't get. What I don't understand is and without talking to this individual, I don't understand their objectives.
We already this
I don't understand where they trying to go with this, or what are they trying to solve, or are they trying to improve upon status quo with this rhetoric? I don't understand if there is even to understand.
Do you have two accounts? This is the exact same question I just answered. That's the exact same question.
Probably it was, because there's so much content, they probably just wanted to make sure it popped up.
Okay,
I'm going to say that we already talked about.
No, but two profiles with the exact same question.
I know. We're just dogpiling.
All right, which already did. Okay. Lucky Kurt McCune's baddest.
Yeah, it's not his fault that he.
Nope, not true. Datu only for Muslims in Mindanao.
What? Nope, not true. Okay.
Well, everybody's got their own use for words. I got it. But guess what? You have to acknowledge that other people will use them for different things too.
Including other Filipinos.
The language evolves. Yeah, there's how many dialects? Gazillion?
Yeah.
No rocket surgery. Come on.
Sheer and Dieter. Okay, he goes. Both of them are not Datus. Well, if it's a tribal leader, I have my own tribe. And
but that was all during that conversation. So I think
the sad thing here too is this is bullshit because you can say whatever you want. We have never been called. You've been, how many times have you been in the Philippines with me?
Three, yeah.
Craig's been about 6.
Yep.
No one has ever called bullshit on me at all when it comes to the Philippines. Hey, can we take a picture? Can I get your autograph? Hey, would you mind teaching or showing something? Sure, and sure.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever. Lynette and Nisa are just nicknames. They're not done.
They're not.
Questions.
It sounds like something.
Jealousy. Yeah.
You know what Remy told me?
That sounds just like Remy, actually.
Remy's got a mentality, and while we're still on the bottom, right?
Hey, Tim.
And
the better you do, the louder the dogs will bark. There's my Carabao English.
Yep.
What the fuck, Tim? The hell with them. All right, here we go. Datu is basicly a chief, a term used not only in Mindanao, but over the Philippines and Indonesia.
Okay.
No, you're wrong, because Lynette Arnis says otherwise. Which is weird. If it's Lynette Arnis, we know all the people in Lynette. Yep. Every time I go, they're throwing awards at me and shit like that. What the hell? I'm surprised. Datu Puti. Dude, I've got a bottle. I've got the vinegar and the soy sauce. And my wife does a very good adobo. Skyline, exactly. Okay. Yep. Thank you, Ernesto. All right, Taylor Swift he's a shitbag. All right, that was good, man. That was good. I'll give you that one. See, now here in Malaysia, once again, now it's a different culture, and some people could actually just be getting things confused, and I met a Malaysian when trying to sell me phone service here, and he's like, he saw my business card, like, so are you related to the royal family?
Right.
And then he's like, oh no, this is a Filipino thing. It's yeah, because Datu or Datu usually it's like being knighted or something. So
it's like a prince, yeah.
Yeah, so that's different country, different use. We should start calling you Professor Datu, Tim. Like someone else, the professor of blah blah. Oh, stop it! Stop, Steve. You don't want to say that bullshit. And you can take that any way you want, there, Steve. The pool is the biggest sport out there, next to basketball.
Cool. Okay.
Cool. Okay. It's news to me.
Hey, I didn't know that.
I know they're pool. They got some serious pool players there. Yeah.
I got some hot pool players there too. Wait a minute, did I say that out loud?
I'm trying to keep it rated. Jeez.
Americans brought it here. You mean like boxing too? I remember that, Dean. Okay. The problem is all this shit started. Oh, we're coming up with Mark.
Yeah.
I'll let you read the Mark one because warmer screams for Boracay. Hey, Doran.
There's a great guy, Doran.
All right. The Datu question only come from modern guys.
I don't think so. I think it comes from
maybe these are a bunch of modern East guys posing as something else.
No, an FMA discussion when I've seen it, it wasn't modern guys.
So here we go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, Mark the Longman. Okay, yeah. Mark McKay says I was talking with Bert. Actually, this is for Dean.
Who's Bert Richardson?
Yeah, who's Bert?
I was talking with Bert a while back, and the term Tuan came up. But when he was in our 20s, you could count the number of two. Yeah, before PTK exploded, and now we have Tuans, new Hans everywhere nowadays.
Oh, he did the 5 Han, dude. He outright.
So actually, to answer, just some insight in this from all the interviews I've done. So the 20-year was the kind of the magic number that PTK had. SAOC adopted that same number. In there, but there's certainly guys, as Mark's well aware, that under 10, under 15 years, of course, under 20, that have been getting, but 20-year was kind of the magic number.
Well, here we go. According to Ernesto, basketball is number 1, and I Googled and Alexa this too. I got that. Billiards is number 2, which I didn't know, and then bowling was 3rd.
Neat.
Now, probably after that, Taekwondo, something else, and maybe you got Arnie,
Well, I want to talk about that. And if we're talking for the kids, obviously the Arnis is the biggest thing because they got government sponsorship now. It's in the systems more than it ever was. But once they age out, they're done.
Yeah, I think it's incredible what they're doing over there. I have tons of admiration that they're getting the youth involved, whether it's in the schools or colleges or what have you and all that. But much to your point, when maybe you're going to get very few. It's kind of like over here. How many kids are doing in the youth program actually making the black belt? What is it? 1 out of 100 or whatever the statistic is,
Okay, higher standard, please, or define the difference between the U.S. and the Philippines. Okay, well. I'm going to be blunt. We don't have the opportunity to just trade on our race when people come over and you swing a stick and sell to a salesperson or sell to somebody from another country who doesn't know any better. We have vetting processes to some extent over here. And in general, I remember Rick Mangalanong said this. So Rick was an Ernesto guy. He was trained with Remy as well as Ernesto. And when I went over, he was the one. Ernesto took care of me when I got there, but I flew over with Rick. And Rick goes to me, Tim, when you go, you just got to remember, rank's cheap over there. I go, dude, rank's cheap everywhere. Everyone sells rank. He goes, it's cheaper in the Philippines. And I kid you not. And Ty has witnessed this himself. We've been offered ranked and titles like there's no tomorrow. Like there's no tomorrow. Now, maybe some of that's because of our social media presence. And we are good martial artists, believe it or not. I wouldn't be able to continue teaching the way I do if if I was a hack. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be teaching at camp this weekend down in Jacksonville, Florida. But the thing here is, well, I mean, I was a guy interviewed me for a Filipino interviewed me for a paper he was writing, and he was the one that cued me in a lot more of the corruption that's in the Philippines and how everything's about money and stuff of that nature. And I don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole, but it is what it is. I'm going to say, oh, here we go. I'm going to show it. I don't care. Here we go. Enjoy your nickname ranked in degrees. We saw your sparring with Boy Garcia. It's easy to talk when you come into action. It was an exhibition match, which, by the way, the rules were changed once I hop in the ring because Ty was there. It was supposed to be the whole tournament was run one way, and then my match was changed last minute to a completely different style. It was engagement style sparring. That wasn't what it was supposed to be. That being said, I hit Boy hit me. We had a good time. We're still friends. But I wasn't coming and trained for a match. I told Alan, Father Alvin, that if he wanted, I'd be more than happy to do an exhibition match. But I will say this, my student Craig Mason destroyed everybody he fought. So, hey, I turned 60 in a couple of weeks. I'm not going to be running around. Although, Boy, I think he's a couple of years older than me, and he's a good he's a very good Yaoyan fighter. But at the end of the day, it was just a freaking exhibition match. I also didn't have a special glove that wouldn't let the stick go. Just saying. Boom. What are you guys white-splaining?
Hey, Renee.
Renee, I said Remy like 30 times, so you better start getting those shots going.
Yep.
Okay, here we go. I am now the official Datu dude. Take that.
Careful what you wish for, Morgan.
We like Morgan, right?
I've never had any issues with Morgan.
He's made comments before. I think we like him.
Yeah, no issues with
Morgan. If a vinegar can be a Datu, what can a legitimate instructor be? Okay, Datu Tim.
Can't argue that.
Holy cow. We've had like 45 people at one time on the show. Oh, by the way, the Williams are calling in case I have to step off from it. Dan was received just as much hate over the years as a Filipino American. Continue to do your thing. Thank you, Mike.
Yep. Yeah, the toxic.
We need a competition of people with
No need. There you go. Brent.
It's not your fault. Oh, never mind. So many Asian arts martial arts.
So racist again. Yeah.
Yeah, you think it was bad with this? I got it a lot with my kung fu. A lot.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So it's all right. Well, that's
okay. Boom.
That's why I try not to cross teach. Trying to keep
it true. My
yeah, you don't get into those questions. Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Boom. I have to run into Tim in the Philippines more than anyone. We're hanging out Makati.
Nice.
Tim, Dan, what's up? I'm waiting for a grab. Like, hey, what's going on? You? All right. See ya.
Small world.
Dan Lohman is the lineman of the Komutan world. You just never know when he's going to pop up. He's like the Where's Waldo. Okay. That's because it's not BS. You are in the title. Okay. All right, here we go.
There you go. I like this. It's all about gatekeeping. That's really what it is. It's thinly disguised gatekeeping when they say these kinds of things.
Well, here's the thing is, what's it have to do about education?
Right.
It's education. And I will say this. I did today. So during my kids' class, usually we have a little die we roll with different things, home chores. Today I said, all right, you're going to have to help with the dishes unless someone can get this question right. Okay. What country is a martial art from? 5 kids raised their hand. The answer was the Philippines. They got it right. I'll say who created modernist 60% of the time they'll say Remy prices. Then there's that 40% that gets Ernesto in there. But I mean, I ask, they have to know who's the creator before they become a black belt or junior or adult. They have to know the country we come from. They have to know what kind of karate we do. The trick question, we don't do karate, we do arnis. There you go. What's the national sport of the martial sport of the Philippines? Arnis. You know, what are the 3 most influential systems of modern arnis that created modern arnis? Well, Balintawak was one, small circle was another, and then the structure of Shotokan karate with the whole idea of belting systems, a rank structure, uniform stuff of that nature. You know, besides the base art, aka the Price's family systems. They need to know the founder of Balloon. And actually, part of this is an open notebook test for some of them. I give the kids a thing, they go find a bunch of stuff. They need to know the colors. They need to know red, white, blue, gold, and black. I have it on my TV. I have a graphic that runs through. It has all the colors of all the belts and the English and the Filipino terminology that goes with it. I mean, it's not like I'm just sitting there saying, I strip it of all the culture and just teach the martial. But then again, what's wrong with that too? We're teaching people how to protect themselves with Filipino martial arts, and we tell them what it is. We don't have to learn how to count, although they do. But you know, it's not. I don't do it like Korea, like Taekwondo, where it's, you know, it's like over the top. Okay, and then he thought it was funny. In some, Datu is royal blood. Yep. Exactly, Carl. Casey Carl. Took me 30 to reach the highest. Aging out. Okay.
Hey, Greg.
What is aging out? So I don't necessarily believe aging out is just because you are a certain age. Sometimes kids age out because they go into high school or there's other sports and other activities. Some of my guys aged out because they got families of their own. They got to a certain point in life. But now, a bunch of my first-gen students have just come back. People who were certified by Remy. My school has 5 people that knew Remy personally, and 4 of them were black belts in the system, which is myself, Paul O'Grady, George Harris, and Kevin Black. Those are the 4 black belts. And then Janice. And we weren't just something we see him at a seminar. We had good relationships. All right. Catching a bit late. Okay. That's Errol, how you doing? Hey, Greg, you're supposed to give me a list of names. And then, for the upcoming tests and stuff. Okay. You are old and fat to teach. I'm sorry. And you're a moron. Whatever.
Just block him. Jesus.
Whatever. Hey, you know what? He's a fan because he's watching. He might become my next biggest fan. Keep making the comments. Just like those guys say, you're fat, you don't know anything. You know what? I know people like this guy. I know how to make people like this guy watch my stuff. So, some of the worst guys I've ever seen are in Lynetta, coming from the USA that immediately spout out credentials. They can hardly move. Some foreigners are embarrassing to me sometimes when I'm. There's no question. The problem here is when the rank is given out too easy. Well, it shouldn't be given out. It should be earned.
Yeah, but that's too full. I've seen some quote unquote masters that are embarrassing and sparring.
But you know what? If they can coach, who cares? Listen, if they can coach people, who cares?
It depends what you preach. No, I don't agree with that. If you're preaching art and you're going, but if you're preaching functionality and you can't do it, no, I don't agree with that.
D'Amato, was he a boxer?
Who's that?
D'Amato, Tyson's coach. I'm just saying. And you know what? This is where adults have a conversation, and Dean and I can agree to disagree, and we still be friends, even though he's wrong.
I don't agree with rich and financially capable students are being treated well by most. Well, that's unfortunate to hear. If you don't, well, Well, I can't say that's the only place that's happening, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. Holy man, there's a shitload of.
Good review, Brent Pierce. Yes, he's a good man, Jam Kurt. And I hope you're doing well, Jam. I do love you.
There we go.
Brent is your title. You
Brent
can't be a real Brent.
Brent.
A real Brent. Oh, darn it. I forgot the link. Nice. Live streams.
Please stop doing don't stop doing live stream martial arts. I love it. Awesome.
And for the record, we'll just throw this out here. We talk about these things. Ty's been a bunch of events that I've said this, and Dean's probably been in a couple that I've said this too. When the instructors introduce themselves, many times I stand up in front of a room and I go, "Hi, my name's Tim Hartman. I'm from Buffalo, New York. I teach Filipino martial arts."
It's always Dean with me. You guys never ever heard me put a title before my name, and never. Yeah.
All right. Easy to hate. I get for teaching for free. Okay.
Right.
Oh,
I like Tony. Yeah.
Yeah, Dean's
I
always.
know that. I got.
Dean's moving so fast.
That's why. Yeah.
I agree. Okay, Ernesto, I agree with this. That's why I appreciate training our niece when I live overseas, since our niece is thought differently outside the Philippines.
Mm.
It's more passion than money. Outside the Philippines? Oh, something was said that made this. So there's a couple of key phrases that when I say things, it will automatic, or if someone writes something down, like if you write the word disarm, you will get a link for my new disarm. So please, somebody write disarm so my link goes out.
Nice.
Just joking. Match racism is based on fear. Okay, here we go. How many Remy's Datus go to the Philippines to train? I know 2 that I follow. Or maybe should the question be is how many he promoted the black belt that go to the Philippines?
No, this camera.
Well, the only 2 Datus that go to the Philippines. Well, actually, no. There's 3. Shashir has dual.
That's true.
But if we're talking about the Westerners, it's Dieter and myself.
Yep.
Question for Tim: how many people went to the Philippines to get black belts? To get the black belt system that was introduced by the original Kali Golds. Taught you 5 count.
Mission for damn.
He's being silly.
Oh my god.
He's being Renee. There goes the friggin' body shaming again. Yeah. Pelin Mark, keyboard warrior. You know what? That's fine. He needs to deal with it. You get waves in the Philippines from foreigners just collecting certs. India is
India. Bad. He's got a point about India, man, especially in the JKD. Holy.
I can't move as much as I.
India might got the PHP on that one.
I just got gypped. Okay, there we go. Carl, are you? I was never bad with Paulo. Paulo did a reaction video to one of my videos, and then when my social media company, when they come to Buffalo to film, they give me a list of videos. I click on the video and I respond right away. And it was the one about him doing the covert draw, which he's not the first one to do this. I mean, the Sox used to do it, although it was with the rig. It was different. It wasn't covert. It was that speed draw.
They did the speed draw from the rig, yeah.
Right. So it wasn't covert, but I mean, but then I see the covert version of it. And actually, what I think it was is it came from a tactical group that just stuck a knife in their pants, training knife, to pull it out during a training environment to throw the guy off and just introduce a weapon. I don't think it was anything like. And I'm just sick of seeing that. I said, like, dude, I like these guys, but this is cosplay bullshit, John Wick shit. I'm sick of it. Just like I'm sick of watching June Occidental do it. Just like I'm sick of watching Chris Chu do it. Just like and Paulo is the latest group of that. I'm like, for crying out loud. I mean, especially if that's all you push out. I pray to God that none of the guys I just mentioned ever have to lay hands on anybody, because all of these videos are not going to go well in court for them. And I'm not saying I don't do stuff of this nature. What I'm saying is that I keep certain things off the grid so no one knows how I'm training. There's certain things I show for general content, and then there's personal development training, but evidently Paulo didn't take my Paulo critiques people, and evidently he doesn't take critique well. So Dean offered for the two of us to sit down and talk. An event post went up, and it became a mockery of anything. And I just said, listen, if he's not serious, I don't want to be part of it. But Dean reached out to me. We had a dialogue over the phone. We talked about it again in person. I was more than willing to talk to Paulo. Paulo didn't want to have anything to do with it. It was very obvious if you watched his, and actually eventually Dean deleted the thread so you couldn't see it anymore.
It just got out of hand. Not so much. I mean, obviously there was Apollo, his initial comment, but off that came an avalanche of some of his cronies, and it just got out of hand. And
he sabotaged the whole thing too, because someone put a meme up, and then he took down the meme for FMA drama and put my photo in its place. He didn't want this. Didn't want it at all. All right, Lamont Glass is on board here.
Hey,
D'Amato was a good boxer. Applied to go pro, but couldn't get his license due to an injury.
No, that, I didn't know that. That's okay. Thanks for
Grandmaster Dean.
there you go.
No,
Grandmaster
never. It's just Dean. I don't even like people calling me Guru. Just Dean.
Maybe it's Grandmaster Flash, because he would have been old enough to be back in the hip hop days. Did you have a Kango and just wiki?
No, but I do remember Grandmaster Flash, but I did not sport a Kango. No.
Okay. Do you remember Steve Blackman, the W? Yeah. Double. Mm-hmm. Oh my God. Oh, I so wanted to do a challenge video to him when he used to do that, because that looked so bad. The guy was buff, but he come in twirling the sticks. I'm like, stop it.
Hey, here's a message for Lamont, if he's still asking. Hey, Lamont, if you're still watching, I'm not sure if you are. I told Steve he should, Steve Bromell, he should go out and check you guys out. He lives in, what's the state next year? Idaho. Right? Okay. Idaho borders, at any rate. But hopefully he meets up with you. So.
See what you did now. So Dan got it, and then Tony said the same thing. And look at your inbox. And I'm just shamelessly promoting my video. Yes. Chris Workman, Datu.
Hey, Chris.
The tribe grows as big as yours. Little tribes develop little stick syndrome. Like a pellet mark. Kind of my point. Yep. You remember? Yeah. We already did this. Yeah. Or did I? Oh, you maybe hit it twice.
You can reaction video of Franco's big. Oh boy.
I really want nothing. Listen, I've got issues with Francis. I want nothing to do with Francis. And at the tournament I was just at in Vegas, he was there. I was going to talk to him, but I didn't have an opportunity to get him aside. And what I had to say would not have made for a good experience at the event. So I chose not to. And what I have to say to him can wait. It's not a big deal. But I don't want to do anything against. I don't want to talk about Francis at all. I mean, we even talked about this. My problem is when I was going to do a video defending Francis. Here's the problem: when people make comments about Francis, then a whole bunch of people jump on him for his size. And there's so many things to pick on Francis. It's all about what comes out of his mouth, not what goes into his mouth. So I don't even want to talk about him. Obviously, Renee just brought this up. Generally, I don't say a word to him because I don't want to give him any. Like when you talk about I'll say it now because it's pretty much failed. The Modern East Roundtable, they've got hardly any views. I don't talk about it because why should I feed them views when people say, "Oh, I got to check this Modern East Roundtable"? It's really not. to me, it's just a waste of time. I play it as background noise to hear what they're saying, and then, oh, they got all this shit wrong. Oh, that one's right. The rest isn't. So, all right. Agreed. Personal development. Yes. Okay. Are you more adept at point starting? So, yes, because okay, I love training continuous, but I didn't train to go to the Philippines. I'm still nursing. So I fought in the Worlds in August, and I came back with the gold. But I had a torn bicep and torn rotator cuff, and I've had that surgery. So, I haven't done much healing or hardcore training because that's like 18 months of rehab. So, fortunately, I can use my right hand. I fought right-handed, and I didn't gear up for it. So I didn't do any cardio training, and most of the time I am more. I love continuous. Okay, we always spar continuous, but when it comes to the sport, I prefer point because it's easier to figure out who did what. It's just cleaner. Continuous is so hard to judge, or more importantly, if we want art to get a competition to be successful, the spectators need to get it without any explanation. That's why the UFC is so successful. How it grew so fast. Knockout, choke out, tap out. Boom, done. And unfortunately, with a lot of sports, if you have to be explained, I have helped lots of tournaments through the years. I've sat on boards to help them figure shit out, and I've always just sat there and said, they're having like 5-point systems and all this other stuff. I'm like, take one of your friends who knows nothing about what you do an exhibition match and ask them and figure shit out without you explaining it to them. And unfortunately, continuous fighting, which a lot of people like to do, which is fun, and I think it's good for combination and stuff like that. It just it's not very good at doing it. Actually, I mean, Ty, we did some backyard sparring at his spring thing, and no gear, action flex, and I don't and those the hit sticks, they hurt. Actually, I got back like, oh shit. And I called out one dude. There's this one guy who's like the Terminator. I called him out like, hey, let's play. And I'm like, bang, got me right in the finger. I'm like, yeah, I haven't backyard sparred in a long time. This is really good. Thank God he missed my head. Oh my God. But I mean, it's different than when you're going for a sport because people are going in. I will take it. All I got to do is be first. No, when we do the continuous, the problem is the sport rules suck. Simple as that, no matter what sport it is. I digress. Okay, let's get it here. Sweeney. I follow Paulo, and he does nothing but bash Modernese. Is it Modernese or Tim Hartman? Just Master Dean.
Master Dean.
You got your last name is Bates, because then that would be good. We know a guy named that. Somebody else mentioned one of the things. Just check your
probably sparring.
Taz calls him Taz. Brother draw a huge part of C2 in my LEOs. Okay. Grand jury. Just saying it. Okay.
Just so you guys know, Brent, ex-law enforcement, a veteran, really, really good guy.
All right. Master debater, Dean Franco. Okay, that's better. He bashed Arnice in general. Not sure why he teach. I don't know if. Yeah, I would say he bashes FMA in general. But whatever. Okay, Matt. Okay, here we go. Francis, the weak half, big, no comment. Yeah. You mentioned weak calf. Now you got that's another one of the trade things that the trade is over. I like a bone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Bashing anything but bullshito is not good for humanship.
Mm-hmm.
He's unless promoting real crap is real. Okay.
Tony's making a lot of good points today. Tony, I haven't met you before, but I'm glad you're on.
I love having Datu Putti on my boat. Have you tried Advil and Tampax for those? Dean, please fix your camera. Okay.
This is good as it's gonna get. I have to get a new one. Sorry, Matt.
It's better now.
It is
Okay,
better now.
you
It is
familiar
good
with-
as it's gonna get. So.
What's the? No, I don't. I'm not. Can you share?
Latte challenge.
Modern Anise in general, but it's directed at you indirectly. Yeah, that's what I figured. Hey, I'm interested in this. So, but while we wait for that, what that is, and we have record numbers on today's show. Thanks for participating, everybody.
A TikTok challenge or something. I'm not sure what it is.
Okay.
Hopefully, Rep Thor will tell us.
Rep Thor.
Thor.
Hey, what part of the Philippines are you, by the way? And nice to meet you. What the hell? Was there something wrong with me?
No, well, I told him I haven't recognized the name before, but he's making a lot of good
Man,
money.
he left. Do you know this guy, Dean? Because he just left you and
No,
us out.
no, Tony. We just had him on the show. Matter of fact, last week from ago, actually last Monday, regarding Lameko, great guy, was under Felix.
And never said a word about you or me on the show, but it says nice to meet. Okay, well,
That's because I snuck in a nice comment because he was making
Cebu City. We were just there.
Oh, great! Yeah, we were just there.
I might be there in November.
What?
I might be there in November.
Oh, okay. Oh, really? Wow, cool. We'll say hi to our friend.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. Follow with pad 6, but stick thicker. No body armor, just headgears. I fought at the Seek-Around World Championships in Winnipeg, Manitoba, and I was like, and they had the Action Flex sticks, and I'm like, the Hit Series, and I'm like, it was the Smack sticks. I'm like, man, I feel really wimpy. I don't know why I'm getting hit or hurt. And then I'm talking to Grandmaster Dante afterwards. He goes, Tim, what do you think of the sticks? Oh, they were really good. The Action Flex. And I had the Hit Series stick. I had a pink one too, so it'd show up really well. And he goes, yeah. Well, those aren't. I go, you have these. I'm like, the Hit Series or the Smack sticks. And I'm like, well, sort of. I go, what happened? Well, they broke. And I put rattan in there. I'm like, oh, so that's why the guys were upset at me. Why? Because I beat them with a pool noodle.
Right. Well, I mean, and you have also fought live sticks too before, right? I mean, we do that sometimes.
I've fought lives. I've done. Yeah. Listen, I've done live stick minimal armor. I've done all this stuff. It's just that.
Right. I think all types are good, and you should play with all of them for different reasons.
Right. I'm the product. This is how I make my life. I make my living. So I have to be very careful with my body these days. Like Craig, he talked about he was at a Dog Brothers match, and I'd love to go do Dog Brothers, but at 60 or turning 60, I'm a little intimidated, because I'm thinking about the things that happened with Craig. He fought 8 matches day one, and in the third match he broke his hand, not realizing he broke his hand. And then he fought 7 more matches day 2, gets home, and like, yeah, something's wrong with this. I go, yeah, you busted your. So then he's walking around with a cast with his right hand for a month or so. I can't risk those types of things when this is how I put food on the table. All right, so I'm going to get caught up here. Good topic, Cebu City. Definitely. Next time we go, we should all hook up.
That'd be great. Yeah.
And direct message me. If we're not Facebook friends, we should be. Unless you don't like what I'm saying, then block me. Well, no, don't block me, because then it messes up the analytics. Watch my videos and complain about me. Like, what's his face? Okay, wait. Oh, no, actually, we looked at it. Okay, I got caught up here. Mindanao. Hey, Jonas. Datu. Okay, thank you. Okay, now I don't feel left out. Continuous formats. I don't mind to continue. Like I said, I fight it all. It's all good.
Yep.
All right, here we go. Can you read that one there?
I'll read it, yeah. So FMA may be BS to a lot of people, but the U.S. Department of the Army had awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor to a certain Filipino who allowed himself to be captured, time and time again so that he could liberate POW camps, which he did time and time again. This was, after all, he had been awarded the medal. Look it up. Greetings and mabuhay, Guru Datu and company. Maraming salamat po, Datu Tim Hartman.
Salamat.
Yeah.
Nice.
Walang anuman.
Flamenco Black Sticks. Okay. Ergo Dog Brothers. Yeah.
Right.
5 sticks. Yes, it hurts. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. We were just February. We were there. We got to go to Dos Equipos headquarters.
Yep.
And train some San Miguel as well.
Yep.
Thanks, Rap. Philippine Military Police uses FMA and are exposed to continuous danger every day.
Yep. Haven't heard of him, but I know we like Riddell.
Oh yeah, we're good friends with Riddell. We visit him on a regular basis.
Yep.
I
might have even met in Eventide because there was a big gathering where we crossed in Luneta, and they had a bunch of his other students there. And I met a number of them.
Okay. All right. So cool. All right. I will be right back.
Okay.
No.
I gotta see a man about a horse.
So, was there anything else that we needed to cover about the main topic, which was, cultural appropriation? I think we covered a lot, and a bunch of people chimed in, which is great. He had 2 other words. You know, when I hear cultural appropriation, I'm like, hey, are they doing it for the reasons that the word appropriation fits? Which is usually not the case, but there's bad people out there. Or are they doing it because they love it and they're trying to do their part and do what their teachers do? To me, that's celebration. But he had 2 other words. I can't remember what those were. Do you, Dean?
I don't, and we kind of got sidetracked a bunch of times.
We did.
So it's hard to stay in, when that's staying on course. I think things are kind of forgotten, but I think the gist of it was twofold. One, not your fault that you're a non-Filipino teaching there, which it is not to be a dead horse in the ground. Still don't comprehend or understand the play of that or the context of that and how that plays into all this. And secondly, the appropriations and how we kind of debunk that, because while some people might have heard all that, but I think the general consensus is that it's few and far between, certainly not enough to be an issue. Again, to reiterate, I've trained under 6 actual Filipino instructors. I've interviewed 200 plus via FMA discussion. Not one time has that ever come up, So is this a self trigger? I mean, is this somebody manifesting this for attention or trying to make something that's truly not there?
Well, like I said before, how it all started was watching a podcast that this person was the host of, and his guest was on. Comments were made about me. Some were veiled. And then some I thought were cowardly. Well, I won't mention who it is. Oh, well, if you message me afterwards, I'll tell you who it is. I'm like, stop it. Just then come out and say it. Just man the fuck up,
Yeah, or just don't allude to somebody. What I do on the show is hey, you know what? I can't say the person's name. I didn't ask them beforehand for their permission. I mean, there's so many other ways to articulate that.
Yep.
So when I sent that letter to both of them, because they were both in the conversation, that's when things started going sideways, because the host reached out to me. We had a conversation. I thought some of it was good, and others weren't. And, oh, I hate your videos. I don't even see them anymore. Yeah, well, that's funny. I just mentioned a video that I was on 2 days ago, and you said you saw it. And you're picking on the minutia portion of things, Now, and here's the thing.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like all this stuff we're talking about, I don't think it's genuine. I think it's I can't tell you the rationale behind it. I just don't find this genuine, By basically the verbiage you're describing of the dialogue between you two and that. So it's hard for me to take any of this.
There you go, Ty. Can you get this one?
Serious?
From Luneta Arnisador. You know what is crazy? A lot of Indians now with Tuhan and Grandmaster titles. They just were in the Philippines for a short vacation. 1 week mastery course, JKD, PTK. It's a big shame. I agree. Yep.
Yep.
Hey guys, I got to roll though.
Okay.
All right.
But as always, a pleasure.
No, Dean, good to see you.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll be all seeing each other, hopefully sooner or later. And Ty, I hope you feel better.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. I'm surprised I made it this long. The cough's starting to come back. But have a good one, Dean.
All right, bye.
And Matt, I didn't put two and two together, but you were at SMAF this last time, I think. I think you were in my group. Was that the Matt that was in my group that I said, nice to meet you, Matt? I didn't realize. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't click, so that's really cool to have a face to the name. Very nice. I can read that. Wow, Tony says, wow, I had not thought about anything but respecting the teachings ever until the internet blew it up. Yep. Appropriation or a continuation right is narrow and was given to be by my teacher. I do not profess to be on the tree. You don't get the nitpicking. Totally. Got it. Yes.
Thank you all. Thanks. Okay.
People gonna people.
Thanks. See you when you. Yep.
Yep, that'll be great.
Right? Hey, Rap.
Another friend. Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, I say things. Some of it's for social media.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes when I just say things, I try to cut through the news. Listen, I'm a Gen X prime. We're both Gen X prime. First year of Gen X. Okay. We don't as a whole. I'm going to speak for myself. I was brought up, the group I was with, we didn't sacrifice the truth for someone's feelings. Mm-hmm. It's okay. How's that T-shirt go? How does it make you feel that that Viking shirt, that mere words make you, that hurt you?
Right.
At the end of the day, like I said,
sticks and stones, right? That was a stand we brought up. Sticks and stones.
Sticks and stones. You want to be, the person, like I said, the one thing he was upset about was the FMA, get the F out of FMA. And never asked me what I meant. Mm-hmm. And when I tried to explain it to him, I had to force the conversation. He understood where I was coming, or he claimed to understand where I was coming from. And everything didn't agree. I don't like your videos. That's funny. The Filipinos love them. They just say, keep up the good work. Oh, fair. Fair. Which is, I'm so glad that you and Craig were there with me, because you got to see it firsthand.
Yep.
And they say the same shit about you guys. You and I do the show for years now. So this is our 5th season, our 5th year of doing this. Crazy.
Buang.
And then Craig and I have been doing all the social media the last year together.
Yep.
And so people recognize us. And they're just the same thing. Keep up the good work. And it's the only place I hear anything about different things like the internet. Like, hey, why are you doing the Datu? Okay, here. To be sure, rivalries are kept FMA down. Yeah. I mean, I don't even get this. I don't even get this. We should be, you're 65 as well. Born in 65. Another. There you go.
What I hate about the rivalries is it doesn't hurt anybody but the prospective students, right? Everybody else is either in it or out it. Doesn't bother them. They're going to do what they're going to do. But prospective students see that. And guess what? Maybe they don't want to mess with it. It's ridiculous.
I don't. Exactly. There we go. Listen, I've said this about, and we've done this. We have the problem. We're in modernity. So the head of the system dies. So you look at any system that the head of the system dies, all hell breaks loose. Everyone's like, look at all this drama, blah, 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 only in modern East. No, in every martial art. You just may not have lived through it. It may have happened already, or it's about to hit, and especially hitting those hot buttons for the haters. Yep. Oh, thank you. But the thing here is, we would be so much stronger together, which is why I did the reunion camp and other things. And I think there's people that are trying to push a certain agenda, and we can get into all the details, but this is not the show for that. But if we all work together, Where do you think we would be right now if we all tried to have our own thing but worked as a collective? What do you think that would be like?
I think it'd be bigger. The students would be happier. We'd have more of them. We'd also have more, what do you call it? Generations of students, because we're not brewing that very smartly. Awesome. Okay. Yeah, you keep doing that, Stephen. More power to you. That's awesome. I didn't know you were doing that. That's great.
Here's the problem. You got all these people, and I'm using Modern East as, Modern East is a system, but FMA as a whole, we have the same problems. And if we all work together, think about this. If we all work together, we have groups now that are handing ranks out to each other. It's that constant circle jerk. But they're not spawning any children, and they're wondering why. If we are going to succeed, we need to, what do we figure out? That we lost 80-90% of our gene pool when Remy died?
Feels that way sometimes. Yeah.
Okay. Let's say 80. Let's be conservative here. Or let's say 75% we lost. And maybe some are going to age out anyways,
Yeah, right.
75% of our clients of the family just disappeared. Poof. And a lot of it did that to stay away from the problems. If we were to work together, we all would have bigger groups. We would have more people out there. We could, I'm working on 4th generation students right now. The other groups, okay, one guy just closed his school. Another guy teaches out of his basement. The others, they're more consulting for DKI right now. The only person who's got any kind of traction producing people outside of us is Dieter in Germany. In this DAV program. Okay, I'm gonna pull this one up. This is for you,
Benjamin. Yeah,
actually,
I got something to say about that one real quick too. It's right after that.
And boom, there we go. The next one.
So from Benjamin, in my experience, most Filipino Americans are particularly interested in FMA to be in touch with their cultural roots, so they prefer to do so with a Filipino instructor. It's a social thing. Not being Filipino does not disqualify anyone, but there are also plenty of so-called masters that flew to PI, paid a grandmaster money to train for a couple of weeks, and walk away with a title. Yep. It's made a lot of buyers beware behavior, and it's made things a miasma for people that generally want to grow international into the stuff. Yeah, no, I get you, Benjamin. I would say actually I've been lucky. I've had a couple of already experienced Filipino students come seek me out, and they've been happy. So that's pretty cool. But I get it. There is the connection there. If you're doing a cultural connection, that some people want that. If you're not from the culture or have that in your blood, maybe you don't know as much, and that's clearly the case with me, right? I'm trying to learn the language. I don't know all the culture. I have some understanding, but it's not the same. So I get that, and I don't take that personally. I don't take that as racism. But when people say, hey, you shouldn't be teaching this, even though, for example, Remy told me to teach, I know he told Datu, that is the weird part for me. But no, I get you. You make a good point, Benjamin. Anything you wanted to say on that, Tim?
I agree with
you. Easy peasy. You want me to read Terrell's because it's long?
Yeah.
All right, make sure. Federation's guide. Okay, so Terrell, I truly appreciate what you and Ty has and are doing. You, especially Tim, have always made it about FMA, not just one system. You've personally helped me. You don't go around putting other systems down. You're a guy that shoots straight. That's actually one of the things I'm gonna cut Tim off here a second. So because he was about to say something.
No. I was gonna say thank you. Okay, now.
But so here's the thing. So you really, it's dealing with Tim is easy, right? He's gonna say stuff outright, but if you think he's doing it to be mean or to be inappropriate or whatever, you should double check. And then if it is the case, then you have a conversation. But he's going to be blunt, and you can trust him to say what he's going to say. So if he didn't call you out personally, then he wasn't talking about you.
This is for you because Matt wants to know.
Miasma, right? So it's a kind of chaotic mix. That's the way I interpret it. I don't know the real definition of the word.
Okay. Yeah. I teach Filipino martial arts. I try to teach the culture I want, but the thing here that I'm capable of teaching. In my school, I probably only had 10 Filipinos in 36 years. And you got to remember, now I'm in a very diverse community, but it's more Eurocentric.
Right.
And the Filipinos, they live in a different part of town. Or different area, which it makes for a long commute to come to us. Um, but around Remy, how many Filipinos have you bumped into while Remy was alive?
While Remy was alive, oh, they weren't already doing this stuff, or just out in the world?
I mean, like students of Remy's.
Oh, student Remy's, yeah.
I can count on one hand.
Right. It's not as many as I would hope.
So when here's the thing I'm thinking, like, why? So this person has thought about all this stuff, and you know, I'm a layman's term person. Okay, I try to keep it simple. I have increased my vocabulary over the years, but I'm still trying to be. I try to be direct and blunt, so there's no misunderstandings, because sometimes people are too kind and things are misconstrued. So, but the thing here is this.
Steven kind of summarizes it.
I'll pull that up in a minute. Yeah.
All right.
If it wasn't for us, there'd be nothing to be left over. Remember, the biggest thing that happened for Filipino martial arts is that Remy taught it outside the Philippines. If we're talking adults, hands down, there's probably more Americans doing Filipino martial arts than there are Filipinos, let alone the rest of the country or world. Secondly, if we're talking kids, there's more. I think there's more Filipino kids doing arnis than the rest of the world's kids put together, because most people don't teach kids. But once they age out of that, because it's no longer sponsored by the government and the school, I mean, Ty was at the tournament, and it was a smaller tournament. There were a shitload of kids doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went to the Mano school, and there was a shitload of kids doing it there. How many adults were doing it?
At those two, well,
adults.
Yeah, not too many at all. Yeah.
And then when we go to Lynetta Park, those numbers are nowhere near the size of that one club.
Right.
Because they don't teach kids. So there's a disconnect between kids that are doing a gym course, and really it's a gym course. They're not learning the art, they're learning how to do sport arnis. And there's a difference between the two. Yep. All right, here we go. Boom. Okay, yeah.
Steven's great. And there goes Brent. So actually, I decided now I like Brent as well as Tony. So he can hang.
Okay, here we go. Enjoyed 6 seminars with Grandmaster Remy. Yep. It was an amazing experience. And then here's the thing. Not my fault. What are you saying about my teacher?
Right.
Because that was the whole thing that started was, and I don't want to give it away. Actually, if you're going by the YouTube views, hardly anyone watched the show anyways. A comment was made about how seminars were booked and certain things were shiesty. It was the methodology the professor was using. And part of the thing I sit there and go, I'm offended that you'd say something like that about my teacher. And Remy was more than a thing. Anyone who met Remy loved him. Well, you either loved him or you hate him. There's usually no in between with him.
Right.
He was very attractive. This person, he had this swagger that he made everyone feel importance of that.
Yep.
But I spent more time with him than probably any of his American students. Hell, I think the only people that spent more time with him than me was probably his family, and that's even questionable because of when he moved to the States. They were all young. He came over here, so who knows? Yep.
Did you?
Go ahead. You're muted.
You were going to continue. I just didn't want to make sure you didn't miss Mac's question before we go on.
Matt's question? Okay. I'm just wondering.
Because it's come up before.
Remy died too early. If he died before, had the opportunity to point more Datus. I don't know.
I don't think he needed to and intended to, because I never heard him mention anything along those lines. I know some people have some other theories, but he did it whenever he felt like it was spread over, a couple decades for all the Datus.
I'm going to say something controversial here. So there were 6 Datus, allegedly.
Yep.
And the reason why I said allegedly, because I don't necessarily believe that those were all constant. As in, some of those Datu ships went away. People left Remy. Does the title go with you? One person left because their personal life got really complicated. It had nothing to do with martial arts. And when they came back, I was going to introduce them as the Datu, and Remy told me not to do it. So it makes me question, if I was a Datu, I was a Datu in '99. That's when Professor promoted me. I accepted it in 2000. He actually called up Kelly Warden and he bumped into Kelly. I got a phone call from Kelly congratulating me. And when I said to Remy, I go, "Did you tell Kelly I was a Datu?" "Yeah." "Did you tell Kelly I didn't accept it?" "No, I didn't tell him that." I'm like, okay.
As he chuckled.
And then later he goes, "And now you're Datu in their eyes too, because you're already a Datu in mine." I'm like, okay, all right, because with the test and all that stuff. So, but my question here is, if someone quit, if they left, did that title go with them? And I know in at least one case, one of the Datus I was going to introduce, and I was told not to introduce him as a Datu. So I don't know. It's a funky thing. Here we go. Thanks, Ty.
Gotta go. Yeah, okay. Got to go. Yeah.
Both, yeah.
Yeah. So probably you're gone now, but yeah, it was good to have you on here, Tony. And we should catch up, definitely.
Yeah, Stevie. Right there across the country and spread the word. I am half Filipino. I got an FMA as part of the Connect to My Roots. Most of my teachers have been non-Filipinos. I appreciate and respect the reverence their show. Respect. Yeah. I wish I knew more about the culture, but that's why I go to the Philippines, to appreciate and to get to know my teacher better, because I do feel that. So I've been there 10 times. And I used to go to Toronto to get exposed to Filipino culture because it's only 2 hours away. But I go to the Philippines to become immersed in it. I definitely understand Remy completely different than I did back then. And if I had this level of understanding, I think our relationship would have been a hell of a lot different. I think we'd have been a hell of a lot closer. And maybe some of the heated debates, arguments, I would have been different. I mean, because the thing here is, listen, I could get access to information on Japanese and Chinese culture galore, because this is before the internet blew up. All right. Filipino culture was a hard one. There's hardly any Filipinos there. Like in the Metro Buffalo area, there's 400 families now. There was less back then. And I had no clue on how to get in contact with any of them. There was no one I could ask to teach me and take me under their wing to learn culture and language and stuff of that nature. And none of us ever thought about what it was like for Remy. They all thought about for me.
Right.
Because we're American. America. And we were self-centered. We thought the world revolves around the United States. And maybe we still do. And as much as I think we've gone down this rabbit hole of identification, appreciation, all this other shit going on, it has brought up things that maybe we weren't as considerate as we could have been. And with the invention of the internet, it gets us the opportunity to reach out and do research on things. I didn't know when we first talked to her. I mean, I did this already, but I didn't know when you want to talk to a Filipino, you don't go direct. There's a bunch of breadcrumbs that you slowly work towards the center. And I used to do that all the time, but I didn't know that was a cultural thing. I also would haggle. And Remy when he went to bring books and swords and all this other stuff, he goes, "Oh, I like the books. Hey, Tim, they're $28. You sell the books and keep $8. Oh, what if I buy them all now? Oh, half off. Okay, here, boom. How much for the knives? They're this much. What if I buy them all? Oh, this, boom. Okay, let's do it. And I wasn't Mr. Moneybags. It's just I knew how to haggle, and I was good at business. I didn't know. Oh, we already did that one. Okay, got that one.
That's a great sentiment. We've heard that a few times, especially every time we go over to the Philippines, we hear that, and we really appreciate that. Because why did I get into FMA? I don't know about Tim. I'm pretty sure it's the same. Well, one, it was awesome. Two, Remy was awesome, and everybody doing it is awesome. I had no thought about teaching, making money, any of that kind of good stuff, and I don't make money off of it, but I love it and I share it, and it's important to me.
Okay, it doesn't. We're arrogant, especially New Yorkers. Yeah. Well, when the whole idea is that you came on the show, so he had to go.
Oh,
There can only be one. Dude, I mean, we had record numbers on that. I mean, 45 people at one time that was showing up on this
and participating, which I appreciated.
and participating. Oh, it blew the heck up. I hope it shows up properly, so I get the analytics properly. So listen, you know, I love what I do, and I've been able to take my passion and turn it into a profession for me.
But that's not why you got into it, right? You backed into that. That's not why you got into it either, if I remember right.
And Benjamin Wood came back. Okay.
Hey, Benjamin.
You know, and I've been able to help a bunch of Filipinos teaching martial arts that have come through my school. Nene Tortal, Roger Agbulis, Rick Manglanong,
Reno Balanado,
Bobby Tabuada, and the list.
Ricky Lazo,
and the list goes on.
Yep.
It's not just about me. It's about sharing this culture with everyone. And you know, like I said, it's. I wish I had more from a cultural aspect. I mean, I would love to offer the Tinga Kling, and I've reached out to the Filipino American Society in the area, and they were pushing me towards the FASA group at the college, and it's hard to pull. It's such a pain. When Ryan was there, I used to have Ryan Monolopoulos. I actually had a dialogue with them, and I should have been reaching out to them then and say, hey, listen, come by. I'll teach you Arnis. You teach me the Tinga Kling. It'll be all good. We
need to get Rose more active again. Maybe she can come up and share more of that because she does both of those.
Filipinos to Philippine.
Yes.
Yeah. So and this goes back to and I don't even talk about if we talked about this because I know I talked to you about this before. I was taught that we're Americans first, and we bring our culture and share it to make us a richer community. How is that appropriation?
Right.
When we're supposed to share, we're supposed to be a melting pot. I mean,
and appreciating. That was one of your other words, appreciation, not celebration, appreciation. Yeah.
Well, I don't see how teaching martial arts is appropriation, so that's out the window. This is celebration, appreciation, and propagation. Because if we don't do this, who's going to?
Yep.
Then it goes back to the same thing. For those people that say that a white man shouldn't be teaching Filipino martial arts, well, then maybe the Filipinos shouldn't be teaching karate or taekwondo and all this other stuff. Maybe they should stop doing basketball. Maybe they should stop bowling. Maybe they should stop doing well, hell, I'll hit them where it really hurts. Stop doing karaoke because karaoke was based off of a U.S. show. It was called the Sing Along Show, which actually predates the karaoke machine by a decade. So, yeah.
Well, then you get to weird things. Okay, how much is, even if you're going to go that way? Okay, well, how much Filipino in you gives you the right to do X, Y, and Z? Or for me, right now, I have 1% Scottish in me, so I enjoy wearing kilts. You know what? I wear kilts when I feel like it. Can I not now because it's only 1%? That's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. What if it was 0%? Who cares?
What if it was 0%?
Oh, well, that one guy, was it Ferd? One of the PTK guys? He's Filipino. He wears a kilt.
Yep. And there's another guy too, Kenny.
So is that cultural appropriation?
Exactly.
Only Americans can fly
Nice,
airplanes
Mark.
because the right blood. Mark, we're definitely going to schedule you to be on the show when Ty's feeling up to it and he's not having a cold. If this is how funny you are all the time, we're definitely going to have you on the show.
Nice.
Yeah, he messaged me earlier like, "Hey, when is there a link? No, you got to go here. Hey, would you like to be on the show? Yeah, it'd be great. All right, let's make it happen." I'm there.
There you go.
He might not be the same after us, or we might not be the same after us.
Yep.
Ty wears dresses.
Yep. Sure.
The dress, it's a kilt.
There you go. Whatever.
Was that close? Probably
That's
not even.
cool. Yeah, I think so. Yep.
Yeah. Well, it's just simple. Like when I started hearing people saying that this is cultural appropriation,
Right.
that everybody who's wearing a Dreamweaver, take that off. Anyone's got any kind of Asian kanji on their body, take that off.
Don't
And
use
I'm
the
like,
word amok because that's a Malaysian word. Sorry, you can't use that anymore.
okay, there we go. Yeah,
Orangutan, you can't use it. Sorry.
Yeah, it just makes no sense. And I'm just, I'm assuming the person is listening to this live or he'll listen to it later. I wanted to have this dialogue to see what everyone felt. And besides maybe one knucklehead trying to bust my chops.
That seemed much more personal. I didn't see anybody disagreeing on principle.
No, that was the other thing I was gonna. If he stepped out, I go, let's get rid of my title of Datu. Let's throw that off to the side. What do you say?
Right.
To hell with the. So, I think this was a good show. I think we had good dialogue. I disagree. Well, no one cares about you, Renee.
What do you mean by that, Renee? You know what Remy would say?
Yeah. Remy. There's more shots.
There you go. He's not gonna be able to type.
Yeah. Good stuff. Thanks. Hey.
Cool.
Hey, are you okay? Who's picking up Dean the weekend of your training event? It happens to be during our instructors camp, so we will not be there. But do I need to expect to have him stay at my house again? just out of curiosity. But and another person said disarm. Gotta love it. Okay.
Nice.
Oh, but that's on the actual thread. All right. Well, listen. We can keep going on forever and a day. Oh, yeah. Of course, I'll talk about this later. Okay. All right. We're going to end the show. I have no clue what we're talking about next week. As Ty mentioned before, a lot of things with work and home, not in a negative way. They just hit or miss whether he's going to be around as much for the time.
Few months, yeah.
So months. just then things are going to change. So there's a lot of times you're going to see him, and a lot of times you're not. Oh, I don't think he can take another visit.
Nice.
Thank you, Justin. I have the seminars I attended were in Detroit.
Okay. Oh, cool. Toledo. Okay.
I used to be in Detroit all the time. We may have been at the same seminar. If it was Detroit, I went to one at Chuck Goss's, and the rest were at Jay Spiro schools in Ferndale. So I used to go there. And then, of course, there was the Michigan Summer Camp in East Lansing, which I went to all of them. Okay, sweetie. Good night, y'all. See y'all in a couple of weeks. Woo!
Yep. And Matt, I think he's missing your face or your YouTube post somehow, Matt. Do I want to be a martial, Matt? I don't know. Maybe. I would say, man, if you want me, if it's value added, I can try to figure out a way. Yeah. It'd be fun, I'm sure.
If you're at Majishi Martial Arts, then we probably were at the same seminars together.
Nice. Oh, for Shane, yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, listen, this is always a pleasure being able to share knowledge. And we've had a load of people come in on this. One of our best shows.
I don't think we missed too many comments. I mean, there were some we missed, but it was flying there for a while.
Oh my God, it was awesome. So at the end of the day, I think the group says it's not my fault I learned Filipino martial arts.
That's right.
And they're all happy that I did it because I'm sharing it and promoting it. And we have this show and other things that really bring light to Filipino martial arts. I think most of you understand the social media, that it's just social media. We're working the analytics. And if people ever want to talk to me about that, I'm an easy person to find. Let's talk about it. Let's not. Oh, there we go. We can talk about Tim and his appropriations. That'll work.
We need reparations for his appropriations.
Oh, no. I have no money. It all goes to my social media budget. So listen, this is always a pleasure. Oh, actually, I'm going to take this off. So it goes there.
Those guys.
Well, listen, as usual, this is a pleasure to share and have all these people be part of this. So this is Datu Tim.
PG Time. Thanks, everyone.
And we'll see you all soon.